Alright, AP of the day 7, or 8, one of those. What I'm doing today is still Path of Fire, but we're in the second map back towards the Desert Highlands. We're going to do a story journal achievement. You see Act 2 here? I have one achievement missing from Act 2. It's this one here, Keen Eye. The description being to kill the real Queen Nadija and real Queen Darla without killing any of their clones during their split illusion phases. You get a mini as a reward for this. And so, yeah, I hadn't put any effort into earning this so far. To be honest, this was an achievement I was kind of concerned about, and I've heard multiple times on the internet that it's hell and it's really annoying and it's super frustrating. But I don't actually think it is. So I did a little bit of reading about this. Not like full-on guide level, but I did a little bit of reading in how you fail it. Because, well, things will unveil in a second. And it turns out it's actually extremely easy if you're patient. I don't know if that's like a recent patch and it wasn't this way before. But certainly now it's not too bad. I'm starting off on Tempest. And for what it's worth, it took me half an hour to get this today. Which is actually on the longer side compared to a lot of the recent videos for an achievement. Half an hour, and you'll see why as we go for it. So yeah, the story step here is in Hallowed Ground, Tomb of the Primeval Kings. This is just before we go to meet Cormyr in the Mists.
Here we are, the Tomb of the Primeval Kings. The portal to the Mists is in there. Then that
reminded me of some of the coolest parts of Path of Fire. In fact, the entire franchise. I mean, that library scene is just so good, right? And, you know, this is just before that. So I'm actually going to play with the dialogue muted. That's for your sake on this video, so I can ramble over without, you know, having to worry about too much else. And, yeah, so my goal is to kill these bosses without accidentally cleaving their clones when they split apart as Mesmers. I'm trying it on my main right now on Liss, mostly because I just wanted to play Liss a little bit more. And I'm figuring out what build I want to go with. I just decided to do my standard kind of open world story build. Which is a Tempest variant you're looking at here. It resustains a lot through hills. It has a lot of boon splash and reasonable pressure. And it's funny because this build doesn't do well at all in this instance. Over this video, you're going to see the build does terribly. And I will actually swap before the end. So we'll get to that. Anyway, so yeah, we're entering the tomb. And obviously I'm wondering if I need to kill these ghosts or not. I know that later on there's that thing with the treasure chests where if you don't open the chests, you don't get aggro. And I was wondering if at the start of the mission you can skip the ghosts as well and be non-hostile to them. But you'll see at the top right, it says make your way to the entrance. It seems like I have to kill them. So yeah, just take note of how much pressure I do here with my air overloads and, you know, this specific fresh air variant. You know, not that I'm rotating perfectly or whatever. Here I'm actually going into Earth for a bit of blinds and stuff. You know, we can very efficiently keep dipping back into air for more fresh air and stuff. But yeah, and the amount of pressure I take and how long it takes to kill things. And we'll compare that in a second. Anyway, so yeah, right now we're just trying to get to the boss. There's not much really going on. I look back down the stairs and see that my team is core aggroed on some early stuff. This seems like a big group. Luckily, we could just move in and cleave these lot. And this is where the achievement's going to start. We've got Queen Nadija. And what we're going to do is fight her through the first 25% of her health. And remember what the hell the mechanics are. That's always a treat on PvE. You have no idea what they're going to do against you, because it might have been months since you last did it. And every 25%, she goes invulnerable and splits herself into a massive ring of clones. And all of the clones are pretty squishy. One of them is the real Nadija. And if you kill the real one first, all the others despawn and we go back to the fight. But they all hit pretty hard as well. So here you'll see, right? We're going to begin the fight. She's got a greatsword. She looks like sort of guardian greatsword animations that she's got there. She's got this whirling ability here. It was kind of cool to put the combat log on. I'll do later. And you see like some of their abilities are sound waves. So there you go. 25%, pretty quick we do that, right? So what's going through my mind right now as this happens is she goes invulnerable, walks into the middle, then disappears, then clones appear. Now, all of this is really important. You know, the entire thing represents a length of time that what I'm hoping is long enough for any of my lingering AoEs to dissipate because they're really dangerous. So mostly what I'm concerned of is air overload, right? Which is actually a massive AoE cleave. I'm also concerned of my air orb, my lightning orb that rolls through, and I'm also scared of wildfire, which I've just cast. Basically, what I'm concerned is I'll drop AoEs to kill the boss, then she'll split and I'll just immediately kill a clone, right? And if we kill the wrong one, we lose the achievement. The achievement is to not kill any unnecessary clones. You always have to kill the boss itself instantly. So I was really concerned about that. And here you see I'm casting this because it's the first time I've done the fight in months. I don't remember how many stages it is before something happens. It looks like from this, I do get enough time, though, to just kind of cast any abilities I like. And most of the AoE should disappear because the animation is long enough for, you know, the spawning to happen. So that's what I'm thinking right now. But it will bite me in the ass before the end of the video. You will see. So, yeah, right now I'm just kind of scared that I cast Wildfire, which is growing towards these clones. And I'm just hoping it won't hit one of them. The other thing on my mind is whether the clones will move. So let's play the footage forwards. And you'll see that they actually all just stand rooted in place. So I stowed weapons and I'm just sitting and watching and seeing what happens. So they don't move, and that's really good. The thing number one to take note of. Thing number two is that I'm getting projectiled, right? They're all shooting me with bows. Now, my normal counter to that would just be to use Aftershock, which will put Reflect on me. But that's bad because A, Aftershock might just hit these guys straight up. And B, if I reflect myself, I'm going to reflect the projectiles. So right now I'm like, oh, I can cast Aftershock. And then I realize, oh, no, I can't cast Aftershock. And I think, oh, I can cast Sand Squall in Earth Attunement. But then I realize I can't even cast Sand Squall to deal with that because I'll reflect this stuff. So I actually think a reason why in the past I never got this achievement is because I'm just so often on this build. I will have definitely played this at some point. Oh, I don't know, actually. I was Weaver the first time I did. I've played this mission enough times. Anyway, so you can't reflect, and you kind of want to reflect here. So deflects are okay, but I'm on Warhorn, not Focus. Anyway, so I've noticed that they don't move, so check it out. I'm not going to pause so much now. So I come here because I'm wondering, will they line of sight? If they line of sight, this is going to be hell, because they're all pulled together, and I've got no way of knowing what's going on, right? But they don't. So I can actually just stand in safety somewhere and look at them. So now here comes the beating heart of this video. How do you know which one is the real one to kill? Well, here's the thing. They actually look different. The model is slightly altered. Like, they'll have different dyes or they'll wield different weapons. Those of you who remember my coverage from Bastion of the Penitent will remember that Saul D'Alessio has a phase, and that patch actually predates the expansion by a little bit, right? So it's kind of the Saul D'Alessio thing. So the way you figure out who the correct one is a really cool method, actually, using some user interface that I never really think about. Often I actually forget is on the screen whatsoever, and that's when you target something, you get obviously the champion icon, or legendary or whatever it is, veteran, elite, but then you get the depiction of the thing you've targeted on the inside. So the way that this actually works is it is referring to the in-game model. I don't know exactly how. I think it must be based on the same thing they do like in side-by-side cutscenes, or the way that the party window shows what players in your party look like and stuff. It's doing that kind of thing there, right? So it could be really hard to like squint your eyes and look at each of these queens, and you know, especially with their ethereal ghostly effect, you know, obscuring their differences. But if you look up here, they don't have the ghostly effect. Post-processed things and auras and whatever don't actually get reflected in this area of the user interface. So clicking through them, we're basically playing Spot the Difference, focusing purely on this. And so that's what I was tipped off about. Two facts of this. One, to look at this, and I didn't know anything else beyond that. And two, here's another thing. Well, I guess I'll explain that in the next phase. So I'm clicking through, and you notice there that when I clicked, she looked a bit different. There again, she looks a bit different. So I'm realizing here that this one looks different, like the chest piece looks different to the others. This one here looks different, sorry. So that's essentially what I did there. And now I heal up, because obviously we got really low from dealing with all of that. And I try and like look kind of closely at her. Here you'll notice that all my allies have just ran to my side and stopped fighting. I'll explain why in a second. But yeah, so there you go. That's the queen. And that's really the idea here, right? So we kill the clone last, but because I personally didn't kill any of the others, we still have credit for the achievement, as you can see from the yellow icon in my boon and buff bar right now. All right, so let's keep going. I'll hopefully make this very clear on the next phase. We're going to DPS another 25% of our health. Pretty quick and comfortable here. So here, for example, I wanted to Lightning Orb and pressure a bit harder, but I decide not to because I don't know whether the lingering Lightning Orb is going to now cleave one of the clones. Have to be very careful. I make sure I stand outside of the ring at the start of the phase this time because I know they don't move to me and why stand in the middle. And I realize I don't even need to line of sight. I can just walk away like this. And I strafe left and right to throw off projectiles. And now I'm just clicking in the big circle. I'm just clicking in the circle, waiting for their armor to look different. This one's armor looks different. And it's mostly the chest piece I'm looking at here. But this queen, the actual queen is wearing like a tiara or something, a headpiece, while the others aren't. So I think I found the right one. I lightning orb her instantly. All the others despawn. We still have the yellow icon and credit. And there we go. We got that. That was perfect. That's exactly how you're meant to do the achievement there, I think. Aside from maybe I sort of quite cheesily walked away from the clones, and maybe I didn't need to do that. So, yeah, now we're just going to smash her in the face. Do another 25%. And so this is actually the last split illusion phase, because the next 25%... So there I cancel cast air overload. So that we don't accidentally cleave things, because I think the timing would have been bad on that one. Yeah, and the next time she'll be dead. So this is the last one. We just click in the circle. We realize that the real one is right next to me. I'm actually figuring it out really quickly. In commentary, I'm barely able to keep up. It's just clicking, though, and looking and seeing spot the difference. Just wait until you see that the icon changes a bit. You don't even need to know what was different, just that it changed, right? And that's very easy to register with our eyeballs. So yeah, anyway, we clear that one out, and there you go. So that's boss 1 done. And we have credit for the achievement. But you won't get the achievement straight away, because this mechanic appears again later in the instance. So I'm going to skip the footage ahead a little bit here. A big part of this is why it took half an hour. Here's the second boss here. This is King Wasi. He's just an ultra tanky dude. You notice I'm critting him for 200 damage. And it was cool seeing his mechanics and stuff again. I didn't know if he split into illusions or whatever. Like there, look, he has a skill called Sand Wave that applies a mode. Where's my warrior skill called Sand Wave? But yeah, so we deal with his mechanics, and he actually doesn't have a split illusion, alright? So I just fight him and 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 fight him, and finally he dies. Then you walk all the way deeper in, and here at the back, we get Queen Nala and Queen Dala, right? So Nadija at the start split illusioned, and now one of these twin queens will split illusion as well, but only one of them will. I think it's the one in purple that is a mesmer, and the one in red, I don't know what profession the one in red is. A necro, actually. I think is a necromancer. Red is an interesting color for a necromancer, actually. So yeah, this is an added complicated fight because we're fighting twins and only one of them is mesmery. And so here's the thing. Just like when I started this, when we were at the entrance to the Tomb of the Primeval Kings, and sort of admiring the view and stuff, I didn't know how long the point of her going invulnerable to the point of spawning other stuff would be. But I have a sense right now of the timing of it, and I think I'll be fine. So there you go. I just mouse over my achievement. I qualify for Keen Eye. We're a long way into the mission here. I've probably dedicated about a quarter of an hour to this at this point. All right, that's a long time in my busy life. And look what just happened. Oh dear. We just lost the achievement. So let's play that back very slowly so we can see exactly what happens here. The fight begins, and I air overload, right? I think I cast a lightning orb first, but I'm starting DPS here. So I'm like, right, well, this will be perfectly fine. So literally, I think the second animation I use... Let's actually see here. So one of the queens is in Von. Let's see. So yeah, I lightning orb and air overload. That's all I do. But the lightning orb air overload combo pressures her almost instantly to 75% health, right? And this is like one of the last ticks of the... Well, it's not even one of the last ticks, to be honest. But she's hit 25% super fast. I wasn't expecting this. And then I finished the air overload and I realized, oh my god, she's already used the split phase. I didn't even know if the first queen was the one that would do it or the second queen was the one that would do it. So in literally 2 animations, I've wiped here because now I've stowcast. I'm standing here. You'll see my character stances. I'm not even using anything. I'm just thinking, well, I'll just have to see what happens. The lightning storm comes down and this guy gets cleaved. And by the way, we died there as well. And so this was not the real queen and we lost the achievement. This guy stayed alive, but hey, who knows? Maybe Destiny's Edge could have killed it or something. And so, yeah, it's over. And I got hit really hard, funnily enough. Really hard. So, yeah, that was a bit lame. And I go to character select, because what's the point? So now I return on Necro, on my Reaper here. So this is the other build, and look at the damage we do now. That I think this is the build, actually. I think the strongest open world build, the strongest story build. The thing is, you can actually swap this between Relentless Onslaught for the quickness super kills, which you just saw a second ago there. And then very easily in a couple of trait swaps, go on to Blighter's Boon and Might Juggle, and just have like ridiculous, ludicrous resustain. So Reaper is just absolutely phenomenally godly. And I do in this mission a second time, but now on Reaper, everything went blindingly fast. Like ultra, ultra, ultra quick. I suppose I do use food, but I think I had food on the other character actually. Still, I think I did. So yeah, I mean, it was crazy. Night and day difference. Tempest just felt like it was doing 0 damage compared to this frickin' thing. And this, we've got such a cushion of health here as well. So yeah, Queen again opens, and now I want to talk about another mechanic. You might wonder why we're watching this whole thing again. It's because I want to give the full representation. So first of all, we straight away pressure her into 75%. Now here's the other side, the final other side to the story. Remember I opened today's video and said that I was under the impression this achievement was really hard. Now what I had heard, and the impression I was under, was that obviously as soon as Nadejda goes like this, I'm going to have to play Spot the Difference. But while I'm playing Spot the Difference, look, Rytlock is killing a clone. Kanak is killing a clone. Kazmir is killing a clone. So I thought that it was like this crazy hectic thing where you had to go into this knowing already what the difference was meant to be and identify it really quickly. Now, you guys know me. When it comes to characters, I'm not a very visual person. I'm not very good at Fashion Wars. I don't have great face memory. These aren't things that are important to me, right? And I know that I'm pretty slow on the uptake with that stuff. So the idea that I had to essentially race my allies was first of all, an ill-designed and peculiar thought to me. But it kind of put me off the achievement. But here you'll notice, and on the last run through, I was taking my time. So here's the other thing I was tipped, and look at how little damage we take from these as well now, by the way. Actually, I tell a lie. Right now, what I'm trying to do is stand inside Kazmir's hitbox to see if she'll take all the hits instead of me. And it actually does work. Watch the animation. Well, maybe it doesn't actually. Anyway, that was what I was trying. So, you might wonder, I'm taking my time. What's going on? Well, here's the other little fact that I was tipped off on. Basically, if Kanak kills a clone, but you didn't tag it, you do 0 damage to the clone, it will not, you won't lose credit. All right. So what you can actually do for this achievement, so you're not racing them, right? So you can take your time. So all of this is fine, and it's all fun, and it's all hunky-dory, and it's actually a really cool achievement. But even more than that, right, it's actually an extremely easy achievement, because not only will these guys not cause you to lose this, but they also will never attack the actual queen. They won't complete it for you. So Kanak is attacking this clone here because it's a clone. So he'll kill that, and then he'll move to another one. And then he'll move to another one, and he'll move to another one, and he'll move to another one. And basically, the whole group will do that, but they will never hit the real target. And so if you rewind my game of the day, AP of the day here, what you'll see in that first ever wave is Destiny's Edge killed all the clones and then just came and stood by me. So it was impossible for me to fail because they just left the one real target there. What I'm essentially telling you all is that as soon as this phase starts, go stand by those stairs and just AFK. And Destiny's Edge, Dragon's Watch will cleave everything. Can you tell I'm tired while doing this video? They'll cleave everything, then just come stand with you, and then you just cleave the clone. That's it. It's as simple as that. You can just AFK it. It's that easy. So, you know, the group is not a detriment to you here. Here we get chunked pretty hard. And there, that was pretty lame as well. I guess I dodged too early or something, but I was expecting it to move the full distance. Instead, she just stood there and clonked me. But yeah, so that's actually the mechanic we're dealing with here. Here I'm going to DPS her in downstate. I mean, Necro just gets this absurd downstate as well in PvE because of Signet of Agony. So yeah, we just played the Spot the Difference. I'll show you this phase here again. Also, so here I'm going to press F1 to sustain. And I was scared because I didn't know if I had my Spite trait on. I don't. I actually am running the Signet trait to sustain Shroud even more. It's just even harder carry. But if you have the Spite trait, Spiteful Spirit, it could proc and tag everything. So that's the other thing with the Tempest thing earlier. You know when I cleaved with the Overload? Even if the Overload hadn't insta-killed the clone and failed me the instance, that still would have been really bad. Because in that scenario, Kanak would have killed his priority target and eventually retargeted to the clone I had already started on. And when Kanak finished it off, the game would have read that I'd done damage to it, and I would have been discredited from the achievement nonetheless, because it would have been considered me helping Kanak to kill it because I did damage to it, right? So you just got to be very careful not to have unnecessary AoEs around right as the phase starts and just walk off an AFK. That's the whole thing. Or play Spot the Difference, as you see I'm doing here. So there you go. That's the 3 illusion split phases. Now I'm going to skip forwards to and look at King Wassy here, how much quicker we can kill him. 220 damage crits are now, you know, going way up. Anyway, so we cleave him out, do all the mines, a mechanic you haven't really seen on the video, and here we go. So now we're going to try and ding the achievement. All we have to do is deal with this fight. And I decided to play Reaper, by the way, because Axe is very focused pressure in the 1 and 2 at range, which is really good for cleaving the clones, I figured. But also, you know, if I'm on my Greatsword or Reaper Shroud sets, it's melee, and the devs have spaced these clones out far enough apart from one another that you can play pretty much any melee build in the game and you're not going to accidentally cleave around you. So it just felt more precise than Tempest. Tempest is actually probably one of the worst things in the whole game I could have played this on. So this time I'm anticipating the phase really quickly. So I'm just being cautious. We make sure we have Nightfall out super early because that expands a lot, right? And now that Nightfall's done, I'm going to stand in the middle. We get cleaved really hard, but hide in shrouds. And so now I just run away. On review, I probably should have gone up the stairs at the back of the room there. That would have been much smarter. Because here I'm still getting hit. I go behind the treasure chest. But you want to be able to, like... The treasure chest is pretty good because you can still see. You don't want to LOS yourself, like literally. And so now we're playing Spot the Difference. I don't know what the difference is now, though. But I do notice here that they're wearing the Scourge mask or whatever it is, the funerary mask. And one of them has a different dye on the bit that covers her face. See, look, that one's got, like, black dye. And the other one's got brown. So, yeah, look at Destiny's Edge here. Look, they've killed everything but ignored this one. Yeah? Casimir refuses to touch it. They're fighting the scarabs over there. So I just go, I hit it 3 times. Get a cool 13k auto attack. Thanks, ArenaNet. Or thanks community for incessantly whining about Necro when they didn't need to for years and years. So now it's completely blown out the ass. And now, yeah, we just play Spot the Difference again. This was fun as well to see the other mechanics. I couldn't remember that scarabs were just spawning naturally throughout this fight. I'd forgotten that detail of this. So, yeah, now we cleave this. Do another 25%. What's going through my mind now is this is all very easy. And I'll clear these out. This isn't a problem. And look at my resustain, my health resustain here in Shroud at the moment. But I don't know when more splits are coming. So that's what's really scaring me. Because I know we have a whole other queen to deal with. So instead of splitting into clones there, our friend Darla just goes invuln and we get to fight the Necro. So here's the Necro fight. As a Necro, obviously there are no split illusions. But I'll show you how it went. And if it was relevant for the achievement anyway. Do 25%. Now her special phase... is she becomes like Termaine from Cordicus's Manor. Or like classic Plague form. Which doesn't exist anymore. It's now Plague Lands, right? But it's basically, she does crazy damage. And she's like, she's not just shrugging off a lot of damage. She's invulnerable, right? Just like Termaine in Cordicus's Manor. So yeah, we have to bait her into the mines. And then we can burn her. What you'll notice I'm doing to heal as well while waiting. Is I'm just sitting in Shroud auto-attacking. Which will just keep giving me might. And every tick of might I give myself translates into heals. I'm actually in really shoddy gear for the Blighter's Boon Resustain variant. If you run like better sigils and runes, it's obscene in PvE and food as well to an extent. Anyway, so yeah, pressure again, and we know that that's the Necro done. So now she goes invulnerable and tags out with the Mesmer again. So now what I'm scared of is the Mesmer's going to do more split phases. And how does this work? I also know if we're not very quick on this bit, they can heal a lot. So I just kind of go ham here, and I pressure and pressure and pressure. I notice she doesn't go invuln, and we kill her. So she's knocked into the down state. We just Reaper Shroud over. She gets knocked into the down state. There are no break bar mechanics, by the way. We just do that because the 5 does more damage at low health. And there you go. That's the boss done. And that's how this achievement is done. Keen Eye, which, yeah, I'd really, you know, ignored and been cautious of for a long time. Turns out it was nothing like I thought it was. Destiny's Edge, Dragon's Watch don't come into play at all with it. So I now have all the Queen minis, including the mini Queen Bee, except this last one. And she looks gorgeous. I just don't know where she comes from. I'm guessing maybe Eyes of Cormyr or something. She might be one of those queens. I might be able to just find her on the TP. But, yeah, we'll see. So there it is. And Act 2 is now complete, which is what I was pretty happy with as well. There you go, guys. AP of the day. Let me know what your experience with this was. I'll see you in the comments. I am reading all of them very closely, by the way, every day. And I really appreciate those of you who are messaging. I still kind of consider this a bit of a pilot. Let me know how it's going. And until tomorrow, hope you have a good day.